who is here on stage today. We have the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Charles Kennedy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted and privileged to join with you here this afternoon on what, without doubt, is this historic occasion. And given the events at the United Nations in New York yesterday, where they spoke, today across the world the people are speaking, and the Prime Minister and the President have got to start listening. That is our message to them. For months now, I've been asking questions in the House of Commons of the Prime Minister, and I've not been getting the answers. What's come back has been confusing, alarming, and you're all here because, like me, you think it lacks persuasion. So it's no wonder that so much of British and European opinion is not convinced. But neither is a lot of American opinion convinced either. And that is all too often overlooked in the reporting that we see. Now, my party has consistently argued from the outset for 4 principles. First, the mandate of the United Nations must be the one that takes the decision and gives the legitimacy. Given the evidence that we had yesterday in New York from Dr. Blix, there can be, as we stand, no just or moral case for war against Iraq. That was the message from New York. Third, if we reach the stage at some point in the future where British troops are going to be asked to enter some form of military conflict, then that's got to be achieved in a democratic way, which means that the House of Commons should be given the right, which so far it has been denied, the right of a vote on whether we believe our forces should be sent into battle in that way. Next week, the House of Commons is in parliamentary recess. It's on holiday. At the same time, the unelected House of Lords is sitting. We will have the bizarre situation, will we not, where the unelected Chamber of Parliament will be able to question the government on these vital current events, while the elected Chamber of Parliament will not even be in session. And I say to Tony Blair today, as a result of what has just taken place in New York, he should at least recall the House of Commons next week, make a full statement, and allow the elected members of Parliament of all parties to have their say on behalf of the thousands of their constituents. I say this to you quite seriously, as somebody who personally happens not to be a pacifist, but has the utter respect for anyone for grounds of conscience who is. As somebody who's not actually anti-American, but is deeply worried by this Bush administration. And as someone who is under no illusions about the brutal dictatorship and the appalling regime which is Saddam Hussein. But I conclude by returning to the United Nations. If the great powers of the world ignore it, then great damage will be done to the world order and the best hope of international justice for everybody in the world. And without a second United Nations resolution based on authoritative fact from the Weapons Inspectorate, I can assure you there is no way in all conscience that the Liberal Democrats either could or should support a war, and we will not. International justice also requires a serious restarting of the Middle East peace process. I wish the United Nations was able to devote its time and energies to that constructive process rather than the destructive process that we're seeing underway at the moment. The absence of a Middle East process can only fuel extremism and international terrorism. This is the riskiest moment for Britain since Suez. Our country has a principled and a responsible role to play on the world stage. But to do so, we have to pursue international justice through the United Nations. And our government has got to take its people with them. It's patently failing, and that's my message to you today. Thank you for coming, and thank you for listening.
Well, surely the message today in London, in Glasgow, and ordinary people on the streets of this country is this: why are we spending £3.5 billion on a war that nobody wants, when there is an AIDS pandemic sweeping Africa, when a quarter of the world's children die in poverty and starvation, and we say there isn't money sufficient for our own public services? Well, the answer is an obvious one. No to war, yes to peace, yes to rehabilitation and rebuilding. You cannot arm regimes like Iraq, Iran and many others without expecting further problems in the future. Our message today here in London, a million and more strong.
Postal, telecommunications and the financial services.
What is PACE?
It's part3, it's Italian for peace.
Ah, right.
And internationally, the CWU is making links and contact with the biggest trade union movement is the biggest political organisation in the UK. We have 7 million members. I say to the President Bobby, President, this is a new mass movement. As the CWU want to revitalise itself, join shoulder to shoulder with the peace movement. And as a union is affiliated to the Labour Party, I say this. Many years ago in this country, there was a...
Yeah, he was making such a fuss in the middle of the thing. I mean, people would think this is about him, or about
Yeah, we just buy it.
Okay, see ya.
£3, love. £3. Look, £3, must. £3. Filming us as well.